What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about one hell of a vibey movie that just came out on Shudder called The Beach House. And we're going to do it spoiler-free right now. Wow. That was a vibey as hell movie, and yeah, I've got a lot to say, so stick around, guys. I won't spoil anything, but I got a lot to say about it because I'm really torn on this movie. First of all, this movie is directed by Jeffrey A. Brown, who has a large career with a lot of big movies doing location management or scouting for the movies that we're talking like Spider-Man, like The Wolf on Wall Street. And recently, he's been working on writing and directing to become a director. The story of The Beach House is about a couple of kids who are in college and are seeing each other and have been having some issues. One of them is not so sure they want to do college anymore, and the other one wants to move on with it and learn a lot more. One of the college kids' father's beach house is out in the middle of nowhere and no one ever uses it, so they go there to sort of try to rekindle it when they bump into some strangers who start to exhibit mysterious signs of infection. Let's just put it that way. Man, holy crap, was that a vibey sort of Lovecraftian nod that lets us take a look at ourselves and just how infinitesimal we are to the greater scheme of the world, the universe, and existence. And no, I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about evolution, baby. Evolution. And I can't say much more than that. Seriously, though, I'm sure a few of you probably perked up just at the mere fact that I mentioned Lovecraft, but I think that this may satiate some of your desires, you sick mad lads out there who love Lovecraft. But I also think that you need to understand that this is a much more subtle indie approach. So in other words, it doesn't have a lot of money and it's doing a lot for what it's got. So you Lovecraft fans out there, it might be good to just lower your expectations just a little bit. It's a slow burn. And it's not one without its rewards along the journey of you watching this film. There are some nice treats that are in there for the viewer to kind of enjoy and feel uncomfortable with, uneasy perhaps. It's definitely not a smorgasbord of all kinds of that crazy stuff that we really love to see in movies. But when it does it with practical effects and in the vein of body horror as well, which is always a plus in my book. And they do a pretty damn good job at it as well. So now this isn't going to be the color out of space movie that I loved so much this year, but I did get notes of that in the beginning of the movie as things started to kind of unfold. It gave me sort of a color out of space vibe with a sort of fog vibe. John Carpenter's The Fog. The first and second act are actually pretty damn good in that regard, although it will be slow for some, and you're always going to have that with some people. They just can't sit through that kind of vibey sort of thing like I can. It is going to be a little bit slower, so it's going to take its time to get to those parts. The acting in this film is actually pretty decent. At first, I was having a little struggle with the couple, the two young college kids, but that sort of smoothed over after a little while, and I wasn't bothered by it. In fact, I even get to see Jake Weber, who I haven't seen since Dawn of the Dead remake. He was Michael in the main role. He was pretty good in this movie. He definitely gives you that odd sense of like, is this comfortable or is it not? And that's what this kind of movie preys on with the viewer in here. Plus, the story intrigued the hell out of me, so I definitely have to give it points for that because while it may be somewhat simple, I've been watching the hell out of these space documentaries about how planets form and how just the slightest distance to the sun could mean extinction or life. And it's entirely fascinating to watch just how slight and fragile the world really is and how fortunate we are to actually exist. So it's pretty impressive. This movie does a really good job of sort of dealing with that in an organic sort of way. And it does this in the middle of a goddamn pandemic, for the fucking love of God. What are you doing to me? It definitely will get under your skin. Let's just say that. The score in this movie by Rolly Porter is actually really good. He does a really fantastic job here. I think it really drives the movie. He does exactly what this movie needed. It's not something I would pop on its own unless I was like tripping out reading some like really cool book that's like really intense. But, you know, by the third act, I kind of like wanted so much more from this movie, and it really sucks because I really like so many different elements in here, and I could have sat and watched a 3-hour movie of this as long as they gave me more visual rewards along the way, like these weird moments that kind of unfolded. And I realized, you know, this is probably due to a budgetary restraint, but the talent is there. The talent is definitely there, and the direction and the writing is not so bad. And I think that if he had more money, I think a movie like this could really just go buck wild. So it's really hard for me to be harsh on this movie, even though I didn't love this movie. I still think there's a lot of talent here and a lot of really good potential for someone to really blossom and show us some fucking great shit in the genre. So I hope you stick around to it, and I'd love to see more. But I'd have to say, all things said, regardless, I think this movie is like a 6.5 or a 7. And it's really hard for me to say that. I had to think about this for a little while because it is a little disappointing because there's so many good things in it. I want to at least say that I would definitely watch this again. May not have all of the surprises that you want to it, but still take you on this mysterious sort of vibey ride. Then it might be for you. You guys know pretty much what I like these days, so you could probably get an idea what might be good for you or not. It's tough, man. It's like, you know, it's very rare to even get that kind of vibey feeling, but I was kind of disappointed by the end because the third act had like 2 different parts in it. One thing in particular that happens in this scene that I was like, oh God, I want to see more of this. When's it going to unleash? And it never really does. You know, like I said, there's potential here, so. But what did you guys think of this movie? Did you watch it on Shudder already? Are you going to watch it? I think it's worth a watch to see kind of where you stand on the line, and maybe you'll see the potential and the talent that I saw in it as well. Love to hear what you think in the comment section down below. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you've never been here before. Really goes a long way to help me out, and of course we'll be doing a lot more on this channel, so stay tuned. But thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.